In today's video, I'm going to give you 7 quick things that you can do as someone who is newer in your career to help you land a job. Let's go. Now, the first thing everybody needs to do is work on building that resume early. So let's just say you're still in school, right? You're in college. I would absolutely say go after internships. You've got to have a strong GPA in most cases to land a great internship, but you've got to try, you've got to apply, you've got to go out there. Be intentional about trying to rack up 1, 2, or 3 internships. As someone who graduates, if you have 2 internships on your resume, you are going to be at a significant advantage over those people who haven't. And if you can't get internships, then I would say go ahead and volunteer. Those are things you can put on your resume. Maybe, for example, you have a school newspaper or a school website or editorial or something like that, and you can get a job or an internship or some sort of capacity where you're working to contribute to that as an editor, as a contributor, as a writer, as someone who maybe does marketing for that. You've got to seek those out and be intentional about it. A lot of people think, man, it is really hard to get that first job because I look at my resume and there is nothing there. Well, you've got to be intentional about that. You've got to think long term, and earlier the better. The sooner you start stacking those things on your resume, the easier it's going to be for you. The next thing I'd say is definitely go to job fairs, whether they're virtual or in person, and speak with recruiters, right? You've been building your resume, so have a resume, bring it, and be willing to hand it out. Make those relationships, connect with them on LinkedIn, share with them your resume, email correspond, or message through LinkedIn messaging and correspond and try to build relationships. That is one of those things that is almost like a zero cost. It's just your time, but it's one of those things that could absolutely pay dividends because you don't know what kind of opportunities they have access to. So step 2, definitely pursue those relationships at career fairs or just online. And again, there are in-person career fairs, there are still virtual career fairs, there are virtual networking events. Try building relationships early with recruiters and it will definitely pay off. The next thing you're going to want to do is when you're building your resume, emphasize your skills and contribution. So early on, you're going to have less things in terms of big career impacts, right? I led this project over the course of 18 months. It led to my company saving $500,000. You're not going to have that, but what you do have is skills you're developing on your own, skills that you can go online. There are so many different mediums. Google has almost free courses you can take to put skills on your resume. Be intentional about that. Go out there and learn. If you're in software development and you have coding languages that you're proficient in, list those on your resume, list those on your LinkedIn profile. Early on, it's going to be a lot less about what you've done and a lot more about what you can do. The next thing I'd recommend doing is I would completely advocate customizing your resume and customizing a cover letter where appropriate for each individual job. You may be competing with people who have a little bit more skills than you, a little bit more experience than you, but where you might be able to have an advantage is they're just going to send their resume as is. What you can do is you can look at the job description and you can see, okay, here are the responsibilities. Here are the things I need to be good at and be like, I have these. So let me customize my resume to highlight the fact that I've done these in internships, done these in big projects at school, done this in prior jobs I've had that aren't necessarily professional jobs, but they're jobs I had growing up. If there's anything you can do to customize your resume, perhaps provide a customized cover letter, that's going to be an advantage at a time in your career where you may not have many advantages. Now, once you have that resume and you have put your skills on there, you've put volunteering on there, you have put projects that you've done at school, maybe you've put, again, if you're a part of the school newspaper or magazine or whatever, and you're adding in that you did marketing there. Once you've done that and you have a solid resume, post your resume on job sites. Attach it to your LinkedIn profile so people can easily grab it. Put it on Indeed, put it on Career Builder, put it on Monster. If you have a local website like MilwaukeeJobs.com, I live in Wisconsin, put it everywhere. Put it everywhere because there are different companies who may not use every single resource. Maybe they don't have access to Indeed, maybe they don't have access to LinkedIn, but they do have access to Career Builder. What you basically want to do is put your footprint out on as many possible places as you can. That way you increase the likelihood of people seeing your resume and reaching out and calling you. The next thing I'd say is you want to make sure that you're updating your social profiles, right? So first and foremost, if you have a Facebook and you've shared a bunch of controversial opinions or you have a bunch of crazy pictures of yourself, you might want to consider like making that super private or deleting it. If you have a Twitter or an Instagram or anything like that where people can go and find you, I would recommend updating it to be more of a professional account. or again, making it as private as possible, just in case people are doing that as a reference check. But it should also be a benefit to you, right? Like if people are finding you on LinkedIn, you want to be sharing relevant industry information. Perhaps you're posting about things that are relevant to your industry. But the big thing here is I want to make sure that when you hear this, what you're hearing is make sure my social profiles aren't a detriment, but instead are a complete attribute or asset or something that's going to help you get closer to landing that job. My last tip is you need to be really intentional about networking. The thing about networking that's great is, for the most part, networking is free. It doesn't cost anything. Now, there are places you could pay to get into to go network. There are groups where maybe there's a membership fee, but there is a wealth of free events that you can attend for networking purposes, and LinkedIn can be your best friend. It is unlimited. You connect with people, you build your network, right? You reach out to people, you can find people at companies you're attracted to. Like, I am interested at working at this company. Well, connect with someone from that company, send them a message, and start building relationships. Early on, it can be really easy to be like, I'm just gonna hope that if I apply to places, I'll get jobs. But those opportunities are finite. There's only so many of them. You can't apply for 12 hours a day, all day, every day. So how else can you use your time in a constructive manner? And a big one is networking. It's going to be awkward at first. It's going to be clunky. Maybe you're not super smooth or a pro at it, but trust me, it is something that is absolutely worth doing. Connecting with people at companies you're interested in industries you'd like to move into. Send them a message, hey, I'd love to have a chat with you. I'm just starting my career, but your perspective, your input, that would be incredibly valuable to me. And if you talk to them and they don't say, yes, Ben, let me get you into my company, here's a job. If they don't do that, because most of the time they're not going to do that, don't be upset about that. Don't think the relationship isn't worth continuing to foster. It's a long game. Networking is a long game, but you should absolutely do it. Even if you're like, Ben, I need a job now. I would say, well, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. Now, the last thing I want to tell you to do is you need to set up alerts, right? If you go to websites like LinkedIn, right, and you do a job search, they actually have an icon there where you can click it and they'll send you new posts, job posts that are just like the one that you searched or you applied to. They can do some of the work for you. If that's the case, and you're looking for a job, do that. But Indeed does the same thing. If you go to Indeed and you search for a job, you can actually set it up so that they'll send you reminders so that anything you are looking for from a job perspective, as it comes open, as it's new, is sent to your email. Hey, Ben, they just posted, 5 VPs of recruitment today. Here are the companies. And then you can go look, research, decide if you want to apply. Honestly, there is no reason not to do it. It is free. Allow the sites and their search and reminder capabilities to work for you. There you have it. That's everything. When I graduated in 2009. And if you are unaware of how the economy was in 2009, it was bad. And it was hard for me to get that first job. It was very challenging. So I know the struggle. So just know that it can be done. You are not alone. Even if it seems hard, there are things you could be doing to increase the likelihood of you being successful. If you do these things, they will all help. Thank you for watching. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment below. I will respond back. Good luck in your next interview. You got this.